so clear. When my heart is breaking, I can close my eyes. It's already here.
Hi, welcome to the Jen&JD show from not sunny New Orleans.
We are on location.
We are here, your secret spies into the world of Blackboard.
And all of the companies they have purchased in the past calendar year.
Which includes
Edline,
Moodle Rooms, other stuff. They previously had bought Angel and basically like they are the LMS market.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Jen&JD show. We are on location without our microphones in the street, and so you'll probably hear more of the trucks than you will hear of us.
Yes, but we did take this through airport security, so you know that was critical.
Otherwise you wouldn't know who we are, and we got him a surfboard.
Yes.
Because it's New Orleans, and that's what you do, is surf.
Yeah. Not us, but all right. So we've been traveling a lot this summer, and I've been up in Wisconsin at the JSCA Symposium, hanging with the Jesuit schools.
So what is one thing you got out of hanging with the Jesuit schools?
So we were talking a lot about professional development stuff, and I even heard some of it here at this conference. The idea that professional development needs to be part of a feedback loop. You know, it's not just a dead-end experience that we do the point-and-click training in front of the smart board or what have you, and then we all go our merry way. You know, there's follow-up, there's reflection after the professional development, there is follow-up with the group or the individual.
So it's an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing process. You're actually, I'm coming to terms with the fact that you're actually never professionally developed.
There's never a goal.
No, and you're actually in better shape if you don't have the goal. And there's more to it than just that professional piece to it, that you got to take into the fact that you are a whole person and you have personal needs and spiritual needs and your professional needs, and if you start hitting at it at all those tiers and that it's ongoing, I think it's going to be more fulfilling for people.
I think what I'm hearing is that next year when I apply for San Diego Comic-Con as professional development, as part of my whole person development, I might have somebody who's going to support me.
We'll discuss.
Okay.
So what'd you learn at ISTE?
Okay. So I learned San Diego is an awesome place.
Okay.
I got to hang, I met so many people from our Twitter PLN.
Oh, cool.
That it was phenomenal. It was just like, it was kind of like being starstruck the entire time.
Nice.
Like, wow, I've had wonderful conversations with you, never realized you look like that. What did I learn? I have to say I learned I really want to play with robots.
Okay, yeah. He was actually tweeting me about that while he was there.
This is one of my obsessions right now. I really like the idea of giving kids a robot kit and saying, let's solve some problems.
Now that I can help him with budgets.
Nice. I've got robots.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I took away from it was the importance of realizing how important the creative spark and innovation is, not just for like us. It's not just a matter of schools being innovative, but like for our kids.
Okay.
They learn best when they're intrigued, when they're solving problems. And so, there's a reason why we've been trying for decades to move away from lectures.
Okay.
Because we want to get kids to embrace problems and get them to solve problems. And the way we do that is by presenting problems and then giving them an environment where they're allowed to talk to each other and work out solutions for themselves. And it's a much more interesting place to be as teacher as guide than teacher as fount of all knowledge.
Yeah.
Because we're past the point where we can be that anymore.
But again, it's not that dead-end knowledge stops here either, like in professional development. I mean, you're in this continual loop with that excitement and that thought, and it's a collaborative process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, hey, look, we're coming to the same
same place. Different paths up the same mountain.
Yes, somebody said that before.
All learned at New Orleans.
Yeah.
You have to understand, this place is amazing, not just because there's good food, and we'll tip in some pictures of good food, but there's rain. And
Yes.
we're from the Midwest. We haven't had rain in so
Severe
long.
drought there, and we were standing out going, what is this stuff falling from the sky? It's pleasant. And we were kind of obnoxious about it. But it's rained, and that's been exciting. And we have a lot of street traffic, but that's exciting too. So we've been talking about one thing with Blackboard World. And we saw this in our other conferences too.
Now understand that Blackboard World, this is the first time that at least I've been to Blackboard World, or even really a corporate-sponsored conference.
Okay, I've been to a corporate-sponsored conference. I did not participate, as a presenter and stuff like we did here. But it is a different beast from the sort of academic or the ground-level school kind of conference, state conference. It's different. Fancier lighting.
Much fancier lighting.
Yeah, food's pretty good.
Food's good, and
big displays.
and even at ISTE, there's all the big displays in the event center, but you don't have that singular focus toward one economic goal of purchasing this product and these services like you do here. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, it's good to see the other side, because it's much more, it is that business-centric kind of model. But one of the things JD and I were talking about watching we watched some keynotes and watched some other presentations. It's this idea in K-12 education particularly, but it's happening out to the college environment too, of we talk about data-driven decision-making, and we talk about data and getting all these analytics, but when we tell our stories, we still use anecdotal evidence.
We always fall back. Like, it was amazing. We're watching a phenomenal speaker, and he's using beautiful examples. We have a charter bus. We skipped out on the afternoon sessions just to be with you.
Yeah, so we may end up editing right about here until this extraordinarily large bus rolls away.
So we're going to pause, and we'll be back in just a second.
And the bus has moved on. Okay.
So we're watching this keynote speaker. He's giving us some great examples of data, some hilarious examples about the tendency for people who are in engineering degrees, based on how high your GPA is and how prestigious your school is. That measures the likelihood that you'll switch out of a STEM field and into being a lawyer. Hilarious things. And he keeps talking about making the point with data, and that we need to make our decisions by data, and we need to prove things by data. And
we need X numbers of whatever to make X numbers of monies and this kind of thing. And
then he says, to drive this point home, I want you to watch this video. And the video ends up being a teacher talking about his classroom and talking about how data has made such a difference in his life. And what it did for me is I kept going, so we're using data, but we always drive the point home with emotion. We always drive the point home with the personal story. And it made me start to think about, okay, are we good at making decisions with data? Or are we making decisions by anecdote? And what is the relationship between the anecdote and the data?
And that gets into sort of some comm theory stuff that we talked about as former comm kind of people and debaters, of that ethos, logos, pathos. You can't make an argument all on one level. So data is very logos, very logical, and I can see the numbers and I can see the pie charts. But that's only a piece of the persuasive message. And I think some educators I've seen go too far on the logo side.
Which may not be persuasive, may not be effective.
And then people get very frustrated because it's data. Because they're only doing that 1/3 of the argumentation, persuasive process.
And so at the end of the day, they don't feel like they've been talked to or really had it proven to them, because nobody appealed to the emotional side of the argument. I think that I've encountered a lot of the converse where I will be listening to something and somebody will say, well, let me tell you about this one moving incident,
Right.
this one dramatic moment, this
Right.
one beautiful story, which is absolutely heartfelt and absolutely true,
Right.
and there's no numbers to back it up.
Right.
And so I listen to it and I go, in that one instance, I completely agree with you. I am moved, but I don't care because I need that other side.
Right. So again, not hitting, that whole persuasive argument and how are we telling our stories. And we spend a lot of times, I think, in that ethos piece, because we are a very mission-driven department,
Right.
and a very mission-driven school, and the Jesuit stuff,
Yeah.
And so, but again, in certain audiences that works really well.
Right.
And in other audiences, I've watched it glaze over a little bit,
Yeah.
because that's just not their paradigm, it's not their world, so that argument doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
So then what I've been thinking about is, as a Jesuit school, as a school that's supposed to be creating leaders,
Yes.
students are supposed to be developing to be the leaders of the future, to bring about a better world. Are we as educators thinking about teaching them these different methods of persuasion? Are we teaching them how to use math and how to use numbers to present an argument, to tell a story not just with an emotional appeal, but with numbers?
Right.
And conversely, are we teaching them how to make these different arguments to different people, how to think about who the context of the person that they're talking to? I mean, all of these are elements of leadership, and if we're not making a conscious effort toward doing it, we might be doing a disservice to kids.
Right. And if we're not modeling it with each other, which I don't see sometimes in staff meetings or in professional development opportunities or even meet the parent night, we have to hit all of these parts to get our story across. And if we're not doing it, we're not modeling for them. Sounds a lot like that whole kind of critical thinking, analysis stuff we're talking about.
So that's what we've gotten so far out of Blackboard. We've got one more bus going by, and I would love to do something pithy for the closing, but we didn't prep anything.
We really didn't, and we're trying to shorten these up, so we don't have any readings, though I will admit that I read Vogue magazine on the airplane.
Because you forgot to bring something.
I brought something, but I finished it. And that whole security, you can't have your electronic device on, I don't fly a lot.
Okay, and for the geek dads out there, the book that I'm going to recommend for you is called Cinder. It is Cinder, and it is a Cinderella story told from the point of view of a cyborg robot. Absolutely great reading.
Fantastic.
So
we're going to go catch a riverboat cruise thing, because, we're here, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Jazz and food, that's what New Orleans is about.
Yep.
Thank you very much. We'll figure out how to edit this all together, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Toodles.
Bye.
All right, you start this one.
Yawn.
Subtle. So subtle.
That's how I roll. Oh, we have outtakes.